John Peyton, according to your grand jury testimony, you were a member of the Warsaw Militia. That right?
Sure.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that. Now, you heard Tom Sharp hooting and hollering, trying to get folks stirred up to go attack the jail after they were discharged.
I might have.
That's what you told the grand jury in October.
Well, sure, then.
What'd Tom Sharp say?
Don't know what you mean.
Did he say anything about killing Joseph Smith?
No.
Anybody say anything? You said somebody was getting that crowd of soldiers going.
Well, sure.
Who said what, Mr. Peyton?
I couldn't tell. I don't know what their intentions was.
Jonas Hobart, you told the grand jury you heard firing from your home and come running to the jail. That correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you know all the defendants by sight except Grover.
I do.
You see any of them at the jail?
No, sir.
There was over 100 people milling around with guns. You see anybody there you knew?
No, sir, not one person.
Mr. George Walker, you were in the militia, too.
I didn't hear nothing, I didn't see nothing, and I don't know anybody.
No, I never heard these men talk about the murders before or after or any time. Canfield Hamilton.
I didn't want to hear anybody. And I wouldn't have heard anybody if anybody wanted to tell me. Captain John Wilson.
Your Honor, I call Frank Worrell to the stand.
You swear to tell this court the entire truth, fearing Almighty God?
I do.
Well, Mr. Worrell, you gonna lie like all them other fellas?
Do I have to answer that?
Mr. Lamborn is making a rhetorical point. Mr. Worrell?
Let me give you some questions you do have to answer. You're a soldier in the Carthage Greys sometimes, aren't you?
I'm proud to be a lieutenant in the Greys.
What was your job on the day the Smiths were murdered?
I was in charge of the 7-man detail guarding the jail.
You was guarding the jail. The Smiths was in.
Yes.
Now, let me get this straight, Mr. Worrell. There you are with 6 other fellas. You're standing with, rifles in front of the door to the jail.
Of course.
Why were you doing that?
It was what we was ordered to do.
Who gave that order?
The governor.
Oh, he thought just maybe the Smiths might be in some danger?
I guess.
Well, here they come. 100 or more of the Warsaw Militia, ready to attack the jail. Mr. Worrell. What is your other job?
What?
Well, all you militiamen volunteer your time. You don't get paid for it. That's what makes it patriotic.
Yes, sir.
So what do you do to make money?
Well, I own a store.
Very good one, too, gentlemen of the jury. You bought this collar there, got no complaints. You all ought to stop into Mr. Worrell's store.
Well, thank you.
Actually, I think a lot of you do. I saw a lot of traffic there. In fact, Mr. Worrell, just how many folks visit your store?
Well, I'd say about all the county stops in from time to time.
So I suppose you know about everyone in the county.
I know a fair few. They're about a third by sight and name.
Heavens, that's a lot. So there they are, bearing down on you.
Who?
The fellas who do their buying in your store, all dressed up like the Warsaw Militia. How many did you recognize?
Oh. Well, I didn't recognize any of them.
Not one.
Witness has answered Mr. Lamborn's question.
I just find that incredible, Mr. Worrell. Here you supply sundries to the whole county, yet you don't recognize one soul in that group of 100 or more. Is that what you're saying?
Their faces was blackened, and there was a lot of smoke once they commenced firing their
You're
faces.
sure? Not one think man.
He's badgering the witness, Your Honor.
Hell, he's my witness.
Find another line of questioning, Mr. Lamborn.
Mr. Worrell, what did you do when this big horde of unrecognizable fellas come storming down?
We did our duty.
You fired your rifle.
We did.
Anybody get shot?
No.
How close was this band of liquored up soldiers when you fired on it?
About 8 feet away.
You and your guard detail fired on them point blank, and not one soldier took a bullet?
That's right.
Lieutenant Frank Worrell, did you load blank cartridges so that when you fired there would be no danger to the mob attacking the jail?
Witness does not have to answer that incriminating question.
And did that mob know by prior arrangement that you'd be firing blank?
Mr. Worrell is not on trial.
Your Honor, I'm trying to establish conspiracy. If Frank here and his men fired blanks, it must have been because somebody told them to, and those somebodies are the defendants.
You don't know that.
We'll all start to know it when Lieutenant Worrell answers my question.
Your Honor, I must ask you, in the interest of fairness, in the interest of statesmanship,
What's statesmanship got to do with it?
not to let this persecution go any further.
Your Honor, will you please direct the witness to answer my question? Did he load and fire blank cartridges? Your Honor. Judge Young. Richard.
Mr. Lamborn,
Ah, my silent witness.
what are you doing here?
Well, seeing as how tomorrow's a day off, I figured I'd spend the night here in Nauvoo. I am not drunk, Miss Graham. Drunk is not something I ever seem to get. Good night.
How's the trial going? We don't get much news here.
Oh, the trial? Well, let's see. I got witnesses don't have the slightest inclination to tell the truth. Orville doesn't even cross-examine them. And I got a judge who won't compel testimony from an eyewitness to the shooting because he's already started his campaign for governor. Trial's going about like I expected. Of course, you can't blame poor Richard. He's scared to death. Take a look at that. You can see why it seems prudent to spend the night here.
You can't go back.
Oh, they ain't really gonna lynch me.
You don't know that. You don't know what people can do.
Well, of course, I ain't a woman of the world like you are. Still, I got some
What
idea.
happened to your hand?
Fear of strangers.
Hold on. I've got something. There are terrible people in Carthage.
Oh, I agree. Of course, this happened in Nauvoo. Some boys didn't like the look of me, I guess. Happily, Mr. Young was standing across the street. So you see, Miss Graham, it's dangerous everywhere, depending on who you are.
What would I have to say?
I beg your pardon?
Would I have to face all those people?
Ain't no way around it. I wish there was.
You say none of us cares about the prophet.
It's what it seems like.
To me, Joseph Smith was Moses, and John the Baptist and the Archangel Gabriel, practically.
If you say so.
And then a couple of years ago, they were just opening this part of the mansion house. Emma, that's the prophet's wife. She'd been clear to St. Louis to buy furniture and linens and silverware. I can remember it like it was yesterday. There was a new red carpet. And the prophet and Sister Emma decided to make a party of it. They used to do like that all the time. Everything was a celebration. So I was flying around helping get everything ready, singing a hymn. I was so happy. Around noon, I came up into the passageway from the private part of the house, and
Yes.